Mentally morbid.
This podcast represents the opinions of the speakers and guests to the show. By listening to this podcast or reading any content posted or shared by the Mentally Morbid creators, you agree not to use this podcast or blog as psychological advice. The content should not be used in lieu of medical or psychological advice or any legal capacity whatsoever, including but not limited to establishing standard of care. The content here is for entertainment and educational purposes only. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any statements or opinions made on the podcast or blog. Please consult healthcare professionals for any medical or psychological care.
Oh, but yeah.
Welcome back, listeners. Annie's hand is much larger than mine. That's what we're discussing.
But prove it.
Right, prove it.
Thank you. Prove it.
What did he make you? Oh, giant piece of broccoli.
Oh my god, look at it steaming.
Was that just one giant piece of broccoli?
Careful, hot plate, hot plate. That's so big.
She's gonna eat 3 bites. I've seen her eat.
I was wondering. I was like, she said she was gonna be eating, and then you had no food, and I was like, well, I guess she already ate it. But
no,
oh my god, the plate of food you just came with. Not to shame you or anything.
Oh, I'm not ashamed. I have to intake. I'm intaking.
I apologize. I shouldn't have shamed you for your food.
I literally just told you I don't give a shit, so...
She's not even going to eat all of it. Don't even.
Now it's a challenge, so now I will.
Oh.
I hope you vomit trying to eat it all.
Okay, I have a real important question, though. Is that the Publix mac and cheese that they make already, or did DJ make that? Damn.
DJ make.
Hey, I'm Annie.
Oh. I'm Kinsey, and I really like Publix pre-made mac and cheese. It's yummy.
Wait, like brand or like from the actual...
In that open deli, they have a Vermont...
This is Kayla.
Yeah. No, we don't care. So yeah. Annie, her hands are large. We like mac and cheese. DJ made dinner.
No, we were discussing the Chinese donuts. And Annie said they're as big as her hand. And I said, but my hands are pretty small.
I said the palm of my hand.
They're like...
And I said, my hands are smaller than yours. And then she yelled at me, which is obviously breaking rule number 1.
And then she said, oh, we should record so I can yell at you to the public.
Right. Please and by the way, your expectations do not need be applied to me.
Well, you're dressed like a hussy, so.
I'm always dressed like a hussy.
I look like an angel from this angle.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
I said it. I said it out loud. I look great. I got my haircut and washed today. I'm clean. I have an angel vibe going on.
Kinsey, you got a letter today.
Oh yeah, I got jury duty today, and I'm going to try to act exactly like they did on the jury duty TV show, and see how long it takes them to kick me out.
Listen, I've tried to watch that show, and it gives me so much secondhand embarrassment. I can't watch it.
I thought it was literally so funny.
The NCIS guy?
Yeah.
What's his name?
What guy?
The NCIS guy. Was that him?
This is like a bunch of actors, and like...
It's with the one dude, yeah. But he's been in a bunch of stuff. I don't think NCIS was one of them, though.
We are also very clear. This jury duty is the one where a bunch of actors, but only one real person is in it, and they try to convince it.
I told you to watch it like a month ago.
I've tried twice. I've tried to watch it twice.
No, not you, Annie. I told Annie to watch it. I figured you tried.
Fuck me then.
Does that really seem like something I enjoy?
You guys like The Office. It reminded me a lot of The Office.
Okay, I'll try it.
I
really thought it was
It reminded me a lot of The Office.
Except everyone on The Office is in on the joke, and that's the part that fucks me up. I don't like it.
I thought it was really funny, and he was a really good sport about it at the end.
Kinsey, how do you think you're going to do as a juror, though?
I think I'm going to take it way too seriously if they pick me. I'm going to take it so fucking seriously.
You know, one of the key things is, which, I mean, that the lawyers don't want this, but allegedly you're supposed to be impartial and unbiased.
That's not you.
I know. I really feel like just whoever it is, if they pick me, I feel it'll be a mistake, but I would be excited to be picked. I don't think it's a good idea.
I feel like if either of the lawyers, depending on what's going on in the case, if one of the lawyers gets to know your personality, they will absolutely do everything to keep you.
I feel like it could go either way, right? Depending on the case. Because I also feel like if in certain cases, like they wouldn't want a therapist, right? Because like,
Kinsey,
I think that's what Spencer was saying on his episode with us, right? Like they don't want certain therapists on certain episodes.
Yeah.
Or not episodes, sorry.
Based off of the TV shows that I've
this is real.
Right. The TV show I have watched about jury duty told me. It's funny, I've never gotten jury duty. So I picked it up. Opened my mail, I picked the thing up, and like I'm assuming you guys have gotten it before. I've never. So listeners on the outside,
I have not.
Really?
I'm sure
I did.
I'd be so
once,
happy.
and I was in college. And
I haven't. I've never gotten it, and I've wanted to. But on the outside of the letter, it says, "You have been summoned. Do not throw this away." So I guess people be trying to act like they didn't get it.
Well, what are they gonna do? Like, you can't prove it. They threw it away. You know,
right?
They can still arrest you, but
they can still arrest you.
I tried to talk 6 times while you guys were talking to each other, and every single time I was cut off. So now the joke's just not funny anymore.
Oh,
you know what's great about it is it's probably because you're chewing so much that we can't tell the difference between you talking.
I tried to talk 6 times.
Right. What do you want from me?
I should say something.
Okay, the joke was, Kinsey, you would feel special if Ted Bundy picked you. So,
Kayla. We are going to talk about why that is today. That's my topic. Not specifically about Ted Bundy, but very similar. So before, we
have so much longer to talk before you start your story.
It's way too soon to start, but I want you to know I am going to come back to that statement and why that is in fact very true.
Should we just clip it and paste it down the line? Would that make
move the whole joke?
Who's we? You mean me? You want me to move it?
No, we.
Oh, I forgot that we all edit.
She's with you
together.
Kind of. You text us while you edit. That's like us being with you.
I'm basically moral support.
Since when?
Since this morning when I decided I was moral support.
You good, Annie?
This is fun. I love when we eat dinner together. It's like we're breaking bread.
Yes, this giant loaf of meat. Would you like some?
Okay. Oh gosh, that looks so gray.
It's pork tenderloin.
Yeah, I don't like pork tenderloin for that reason. No matter how much you flavor it, inject it, marinate it, it's just always gray meat. You know, listeners, we were in our chat yesterday.
Oh, God.
And we started talking about food and, gosh, I can't even remember what else. I just remember we were talking about food.
We were?
And I think it was food or workouts or something. And then I mentioned how boring we were.
We are boring.
Yeah. I said that I was having cottage cheese for dessert.
I had cherries.
That's it. Yeah.
Cherries and cottage cheese.
That was our conversation. We were sharing the healthy foods that we were eating, and it's really in comparison to how we used to talk, and it really hasn't been that long,
right?
For us,
have been drinking a lot less, and it feels weird.
Oh God!
Like healthy.
Oh, we're doing this now. Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's just weird.
Is healthy the word you use?
Like, I come home and like I don't need a glass of wine. I don't really know what to. I don't know what to do.
I really feel like you should use the word healthy at some point.
Healthy! I feel healthy.
I feel like weird. So, weird is something that I would probably follow up with my clients and go, do you mean like withdrawals?
No.
Oh, no. Don't say that word like that again.
Withdrawals.
Oh, that was bad. I didn't like that.
No. Now I'll never unhear that.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? Withdrawals?
Yes.
That's not better.
You say withdrawals like it's like 6 syllables long?
If I'm enunciating, yes.
Who the fuck enunciate?
I can either
people
I can either enunciate it and say
People that live above where the Civil War was. So we were in the part that lost. The other part they enunciate.
Do we forget how to enunciate?
Yeah, we just don't do that here.
Withdrawals.
Withdrawals.
Ew.
Sorry, I'll just forget half the letters at the end. Withdrawals.
I feel like I could chew on that word.
I wish you would chew on it instead of the freaking macaroni you keep shoving in your mouth. Anyways, so Kinsey, you feel healthier recently.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like halfway through 29, I just I'm not even halfway through. Drinking. Yeah, it's not really interesting as much.
Does it correlate with being with Gus?
Yes. Healthier me.
I have noticed
or just less bored.
Serious improvement.
Oh.
In her.
I think the word you're looking for is less lonely.
A serious improvement in what? Me as a human being? Or?
I didn't say that.
Something's happening. This feels very therapeutic and I am uncomfortable.
I feel like Gus has improved my life. And the good news is he will never listen to this episode. So, Gus is breaking up.
Let me break this down for you.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
What I think is very fascinating is how you used to talk about how lonely you were. Then Gus comes along. It's great because you don't message us nearly as much as you used to, and somehow still it's constant. Not as much as you used to. And what I love is that now you're talking about life as if you're not a people person. And the whole time you're saying this, I'm like, no, you just have a partner now and you don't feel the need to fill your time with other people.
No.
But you tell yourself whatever story you want to, my little introverted friend.
No. I like to think I'm getting older, but then I think about it and I haven't been alone.
I mean, you are.
I haven't been alone in 5 months at all. And it's been really weird. And I just want to be alone.
There's that word again. Healthy?
Weird.
Happy?
Weird.
Keep using the word weird, and it's very
different.
It's very hedging. No, it's hedging.
No, for sure. When we were having that conversation yesterday, I definitely realized I was like, I don't want to have as many plans because Gus is always here. And so the idea that I don't have plans means that I get to do something I want to do that doesn't involve anybody else. So that sounds really exciting. I'm like, oh
God, you're gonna hate marriage.
I'm so sorry for you.
They're not going to leave.
Right.
Hold on.
I'm no longer lonely. I have no feeling of lonely.
Okay.
Hold
on.
That's not true. DJ leaves.
But his shoes don't go with him. Not all of them.
No!
His shoes live here.
Man has an entire closet of shoes at his parents' house that he's waiting to sell. He doesn't even wear them.
Kinsey, I want you. We're gonna do a little bit of mindfulness.
Right now, I'm so sick of this. I've had so much training today.
It's fine. You don't even have to. You can do like you did earlier, not pay attention. Read your book. Okay. Kinsey, I want you to look around. Okay, look around your environment. What do you see?
Shoes.
No. What else do you see?
I see stuff.
Whose stuff?
Kinsey's stuff.
Kinsey's stuff. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to picture all of Kinsey's stuff. And now, Gus's stuff is there too.
This is that kind of mindfulness. Stuff. I like it.
Make it stop! I need a house.
Kinsey, I have a good solution for boy stuff.
A shed.
A boy room.
Oh my God. I really do.
They have their own boy room.
I need it. I need a house as big as Kayla's, and I need Gus to understand the rules that we write down before we move into the house.
So anytime they come downstairs, like
I go, no, and I get the spray bottle and go, get away.
Anytime Connor comes downstairs, I say, "Why are you in my room?" And he says,
"That's healthy.
This is the kitchen." And I say,
No,
this is my room.
My room.
Get out.
The bottom half?
Yeah. Oh my
It's
god.
my room. Nobody's allowed down here.
Well, you could always go the other route and be codependent.
Why would I do that?
Well, it works for me. If you
Right.
can't get boy room,
I knew that's where we were
We
going.
did notice. It works for you. I noticed.
it works for me. I love when he's in my room. We never leave. In fact, he's sitting in the corner right now just waiting for me to finish.
Oh, fetal position, Kevin.
No, I
Why do you
feel
have
like
fetal positions?
I think Kevin and Kinsey are on the same page, right? Whenever Annie or Gus go do something on their own, Kevin and Kinsey get Kevin or Kinsey time. And Kevin immediately pulls out his video game, just like I immediately pull out my Hulu and phone game. And I'm like, okay, honey, have a great time. Bye. I'll miss you.
You can do that with him in the room with you.
Yeah, we watch shows together, though. So, like...
Yeah, but Kinsey also thought earlier that you can't say no to a boss, so I don't know that we trust that you believe that.
True.
No. I'm the alpha in my romantic relationship, so...
This is true. I do believe.
Kinsey,
Thoroughly.
we know.
I'm
You don't
the
have
alpha.
to tell us.
Alpha! I sat on
And I love that about you.
I sat on him and I bit his ear. That's how they teach you to train dogs.
Oh.
That's how the Fae mark each other as mates. Never mind.
Really? That's also
Never
what they
mind.
tell you to teach a dog
Well, I
that
got
you're...
kinky.
That's also how they tell you to teach a dog you're alpha. To bite their ear.
Not kinky.
No, not kinky. Not kinky.
Two different ends of the spectrum here.
Let's be clear.
I don't do dogs and she doesn't do Fae.
Man.
But she does do Gus.
But yes,
Oh,
I
Papa
am...
Pochio, close your ears.
Oh, he stopped listening many moons
I'm
ago.
so sorry.
40
So did Kevin, it's
episodes
fine.
ago, Papa Pochio stopped listening. He doesn't even remember we have a podcast.
He doesn't even know who we are.
No, he did say you guys. Actually, he said your names yesterday. When I was
Oh, wait. Tell the story. Tell the story.
again, when I was bragging, I was like, I went to a going away party and I left at midnight because I'm mature and I wanted to eat pancakes in bed with Copper. Yada yada. And he was like, yeah, right. Until the next time you go visit Annie and Kayla, and then we're right back to the same old bullshit. He's like,
Okay,
yeah,
but wait.
okay, sure.
You did tell him that I was the one who went back and ate the pancakes in the room by herself.
Probably.
That was at
reasonable
2 a.m. though, not
That was
12.
2 a.m.
A reasonable hour.
It wasn't even 12, guys. It was literally
I was already swaying by that point.
like 11
I knew my
p.m.
throw up point.
I was like, I don't want to be here. These are not my people. Goodbye.
That's me every day, Kinsey. That's me every single day.
I was more talking about the Papa Poach story where he thought Kayla was an entirely different person, even though he's met Kayla twice.
I think the
Who did you think I was?
Annie.
I forgot.
He thought you were Annie.
Oh.
He thought you were Caitlin.
Caitlin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
didn't he say, does she look different or something? Or isn't that girl you did that podcast with?
he said, "Does Kayla go by is this Kayla's real name or something
Yes.
like that?"
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, "No." I think I figured out the problem. I think it's because she's below eye level, so like he has to look down to make sure he looks at her. And I think he doesn't know how to turn his head like that anymore. You know, he's getting old. Like, and
Papa Pochio is not that much taller than me.
I was gonna say, I want to be clear, listeners. My dad could easily pass for a large gnome. Like he is a small man.
And he would only identify me then by my breasts, so I don't think that's applicable.
Oh, you're right. I don't like that. He doesn't
didn't
want to
think
make
he
eye
would.
contact because he's scared of her.
I think he just doesn't look at her face.
No, they sat across from each other at the dinner
I
table.
sat directly across from this man.
It didn't mean
And
he
ate
looked
dinner.
at you.
We made direct eye contact in a full-blown conversation while eating some Italian meal. I don't know.
We had pizza, I think.
That's really easy
Oh,
to
that's
identify.
Italian.
It's also really
Listen.
easy just to say pizza.
It's so funny because
We had some noodles.
oh, right.
I don't know.
It's so funny. It is so funny because my dad could easily tell you the name of all of my close friends. But if I put you all in a lineup, he would have no idea what you look like.
Kinsey, what you need to do is you need to make a Guess Who game
Oh, that would be
and
fun.
put all your friends as as the Guess Who characters, and you play Papa Pochio.
I can't wait until one day when I get married to my first husband, or last, or whichever.
No, the first. Let's be honest.
When that happens, and my dad walks up to Kayla and says, "Hey, Annie, how are you?"
I want you to put fake people in the Guess Who game too, and see if you can realize it.
He would lose so hard. I honestly feel like if him and Nicole played together, that might be better, because she could be like, "I saw that face on Facebook. I know I saw a picture of that girl. I don't know what her name is, but I know I've seen her."
My dad thought Kayla did drugs, so there's that.
Not just any drugs. Hard drugs.
All of them.
All of the drugs. Every drug.
All of them. He knows your name hard.
He thought I did meth.
He thought you did meth?
Yes.
I thought it was just coke.
He said he doesn't think it's funny how flippant she is about drug use. It's not funny using drugs.
I remember that, but I didn't realize
funny.
I didn't realize meth was in the mix. I remember it wasn't funny. I remember that.
No, I said I've done all the drugs. That was my sentence. And he took it as a joke.
Literally.
Not even directed at him. It
wasn't the drugs.
It wasn't even directed at him. And he commented on it. And he was so concerned.
So concerned. He was ready. He was going to take you to NA. He was going to help you detox. He probably had a shed built in the back just so that you could detox in it. It went sour first. It's fine.
I don't want it.
Not the shed. Does Brenda think she does drugs too, or?
No, my mother knew. See, I don't really know why my father thought that I would have a serious friend, but my mother knew. I mean, but she's also, I think she probably has communicated with you before. Like, she'd communicated with you before that, so she probably knew a little bit of your personality. My father had not. My mother knew that you jokingly added her because you were like, what a weird word to use, penetrating my family one by one. Remember that?
Yeah.
You just started adding people in my family before you even knew them.
Killing it today.
Listen,
penetrating.
When we were in grad school, everybody, when we were in grad school, it was a running joke that I was going to infiltrate Annie's family. And so I started slowly adding all of them on Facebook.
And they added her back.
And I also started communicating with them private messages. And it was a running joke that went on for too long. We're best friends.
I'm friends with like 4 or 5 of Annie's family members on Facebook, but I never added her dad. I didn't get that. I didn't do that one.
He wouldn't have added you back unless you were on drugs.
Oh, I see. I'll send him a message. Hello, I'm Annie's.
Then it turned into me adding all of Kevin's family.
And now she still communicates with them.
I do. Best friends for life.
It's not funny, guys. It's creepy.
Annie, this is the best we can do. You don't have any friends for us to befriend.
You know what's funny is I thought about it. And, I was telling you guys how I'm going to war and I'm gathering soldiers. Mm-hmm. Right?
And
to fight the unethical.
And I like the analogies you give. Yes.
It's a battle cry. I've called for a battle cry. And I realized when I was contacting all these different people that are like really happy to hear from me and we're talking and we're like excited for each other where we're at. I'm like, you could be a friend. And then I'm like, all right, well, I'll hit you up soon. And I hang up knowing that outside of this conversation and this topic, I will not talk to them. I have the ability to. All of them. I enjoyed working with all of them. Will I gather with them for fun camaraderie? Absolutely not.
Oh,
so
we're fun.
I have options.
Fun camaraderie. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only way to befriend Annie is to force your friendship upon her. No choices given.
Annie, what would you do without us?
Exactly.
Live, thrive, prosper. I do a lot of things. I'd bike more. I wouldn't answer my phone as much. I'd probably have a lot less phone time. I'd probably game more, maybe read more, watch more movies. I might have a second business. Who knows? I have a lot of things that I could do.
You have 2 businesses now. You have 2
I
businesses.
Have 3.
You would have still 2. Who would you do podcasts with?
Oh, what a good point. Who would I would not have had a podcast. I would not have been making all this money from a podcast. You're right. What a good point.
If you guys would like to Venmo us, we have a Venmo.
Mentally Morbid Pod at Venmo.
So stay mental.
Stay morbid.
No. I gotta learn about Ted Bundy.
Too soon? Okay, well, I don't want to lead you astray too much, but I will tell you Ted Bundy will come in briefly at the end of this story, but it is about why, if a serial killer loved me, I would be okay with it. So we'll get to that, though.
Specifically you?
Okay.
Love
But
no, I mean,
no. Honestly, I feel like you could just say you. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to be surprised. I don't feel like Kayla's going to be surprised. I feel like this is going to go a lot back to that cult conversation that we had.
For sure.
Yeah,
how'd you know?
I feel like some of these things, because you love to be included. You are the epitome of how dare you not invite me to that event that I didn't want to go to and you knew I wouldn't want to go to.
Listen, if Gus decides to start a cult, I'm not going to stop him. I will take over as queen.
Is there a king in a cult?
Gus is the king and queen.
No, I don't know. Actually, I don't
I'm
see that
the
happening
king.
for you. Yeah, I was gonna say you would dethrone
be the
Gus.
king.
Gus would never be able to start it without you saying, "I actually have better ways that we could do this. It's fine. I'll just do it myself."
You know,
and then wait, no, and then get mad when he stopped doing it. Caleb, back me up.
Accurate. So accurate.
how dare you? I'm leaving.
Your
own cult?
You're gonna be that wife that I have to have a conversation with. If you want him to step up, you have to stop yelling at him about how he's doing it and let him do it his way.
No, fuck you. It's just,
Yeah, that's really how that goes.
it's literally, it's just, it's all accurate. But
Yeah, we know.
You
She's
can't
like,
even defend it.
I got nothing.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
I got nothing. So listen, let's think about cults, right? Let's say, are we ready for the story?
I'm
I
ready.
suppose.
Okay, pop quiz. I want you to name the most famous cults there were. Name the cults. And I'll tell you if you pick the correct cults we're going to talk about today. That's my game.
Jim Jones.
Who?
Jim Jones?
Jim Jones. No.
Wasn't that the Kool-Aid guy?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, it's not who we're talking about today.
The moons. What's that one? They have the assault rifles.
The Moons.
No. Okay.
Scientology.
I feel like Kayla is talking about the right cult, but wrong name. So no and no.
The Church of New Audience.
I don't know what that is.
It sounds like we're not going to guess it. So
No, I want to keep going. The
Annie,
Republicans.
the Republicans! Yes, we're talking about men in general and the cult that is them.
Oh, okay. I'm in.
Okay, so I'm going to take you guys back in time, just like I do every
Again?
time I give a story.
Back
in time. But today, we're going to the 80s. Ooh.
We never go back very far. You're always like, ooh, back in time. And I'm
He's
always
like, we're going way back. Way
20
back.
years ago when I was born.
1994.
So we're going to go to August 23rd, 1982 is where we're going to start this story. And on August 23rd, 1982, Leslie was born.
The actor?
Leslie. I'm not going to tell you her last name yet because we're not there. So, because I don't want to ruin it. You're going to know.
I already
You can
know.
only tell us the story so long when it can't be a surprise anymore.
This feels like the worst. The worst.
Well, Kayla already knows, so it's a surprise for Annie. So Leslie's mom and dad divorced when she was 14, and she began smoking marijuana, and at the age of 15 began taking LSD. Dun, dun, dun. Just
Go get her.
Yeah. At 17, Leslie ran away with her boyfriend, but returned to complete high school. And then she discovered she was pregnant and ordered by her mother to undergo an abortion and bury the fetus in their backyard. Oh, sorry, I forgot. My sources are Wikipedia, of course, People Magazine, Psychology Today, and Women's Health.
That was a weird pause.
So Leslie moved to a yoga commune, and then she met two people. She decided to move in with them and with another girl, so the four of them lived together. Then they got in a big.
Annie, that's your worst nightmare. What do you mean it's nice?
The yoga commune, nice I like people where we bond with physical activity. You don't have to talk as much.
Okay.
So
Kinsey, your turn.
So they broke up because they kept getting in fights. Yada yada yada.
What?
And then she proceeded at 19 years old to join one of the most famous cults of our history so far. Any last minute guesses?
Nope, still don't know. You give me no information that indicates anything that I should know.
I know of the cults. I don't know the names of the cults. So
she joined the Mansons at age 19, led by Charles Manson.
Yes.
Today we are
that one I should have known.
I was thinking popular in terms of numbers.
Today we are going to talk about Leslie Van Houten, one of the more big names in the Manson
Van Houten.
family. Van Houten.
Is it Van Houten or is it Van Houten?
Van
Houten.
Annie, I have pronounced every single name wrong on this podcast so far. I don't know. I don't know.
I like that we accept our rules here.
She already knew before she said it.
So the Mansons. So rather than talk about Charles Manson today, we're going to talk about Leslie Van Houten, who was one of the bigger names in the Manson family cult. There is some, contradictory information on the internet out there. Some information says she was the youngest member of the cult. I had another article I read that said there was actually a 14-year-old member of the cult who was considered like their prime example of what a woman should be. So I don't think she was. In fact, I think that was misquoted, but it is possible she was one of the younger members of the cult, and she was a very big name for the cult. So a little background on the Mansons. They were led by Charles Manson in the 80s. Wait,
who's that?
The 90s. I don't have any information on him. He's a big name. You should know who he is.
That's Charles Manson. That guy?
Yeah, that guy.
He was on that TV show.
I don't have any more for you. We're not talking about him today. It's a woman-run podcast.
Oh.
Manson.
So we don't give all the information?
I don't know who he was before he decided to start the cult. I just know what he did when he was in the cult, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
What was his history before?
I like this.
So, Manson started his cult in August of 1968. They were based at the Span Ranch. He ran a family-style, hippie-based cult based on the principles of acceptance and free love. And he basically had them at this remote ranch where they isolated them from other people's influences, and he was the only opinion heard. He would lecture repetitively at meals, and he decided when they ate, slept, and had sex, as well as who they had sex with. He controlled LSD and how much LSD each of his followers had, and would often give them a lot while only giving himself a little bit so he could stay in control of what was going on. And he has quoted as saying, when you take LSD enough times, you reach a state of nothing, of no thought. Van Houten, however, has said she became saturated in acid and could not grasp the existence of those living in a non-psychedelic reality. And mind you, she had already been taking LSD for like 2 or 3 years at this point, which I assume is not very good for your brain development at that age.
I think that's a safe assumption.
So they looked, here's what they called. They called the 14-year-old the empty vessel, and she was the epitome of what women were supposed to be in the system of values.
Ew.
I hate everything about that statement.
Ew.
Yeah, that's so disgusting to eat. Like, all the implications of that is so disgusting.
Yes. I agree. And so Van Houten was considered a leader in the family. So during a 2-day spree guys, another reason this information is incorrect. This makes no sense. Wikipedia said she was born in 1982, and the murder that she did was in 1969. So the math is not mathing. How she killed someone?
I don't think the murders happened in the 80s, actually.
Nope. So I take it back. We went further back than whatever year. She was not born in 1982. Fuck you, Wikipedia.
Whoa, going further back.
It's like Miss Frizzle.
Yeah. So during a 2-day spree in August of 1969, Manson instructed a handful of his followers, including Van Houten, Susan Atkins, and Patricia Krenwinkel, to kill 7 people. There were more people than that. I'm also
wait. I know this is a very serious moment.
Krenwinkel.
Did you make that up? Krenwinkel? That is not real.
No. Okay, and there are more names too. So it was Van Houten, Susan Atkins, Tex Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, Linda Caspian, and Susan. I'm sorry, I just already said Clem Grogan and Charles Manson. Krenwinkel.
This Krenwinkel is like a name that I would make up if I was telling the children a story.
It sounds like in New Girl when Nick makes up the Julius Pepperwood man. And he's like, I'm Julius Pepperwood.
Right, it sounds like something like that. I'm so sorry. This is a very serious story, but I tried.
No, and I will say,
Krenwinkel.
Leslie herself had several aliases, so maybe Krenwinkel was also an alias. I don't know. Leslie also went.
Oh my God. Nothing is verified. No, you were right. You were right. There is contradictory information in this story.
I'm just saying,
I feel like
alias. I don't know, but I will tell you now. Leslie's aliases.
It's Alii. Go.
Really?
No. Go.
trust nothing.
Wikipedia told me 1982, okay? I don't know what to tell you. I'm just giving you the information.
I love that when there were question marks, you ignored them. You were like, I don't know if that makes sense. Never mind. Don't need to check that one. Why open another tab when I could just keep going?
No, I opened 4 tabs, okay?
And not one of them Googled?
Why?
Keep going.
Go
I'm
on.
loving this.
Please
It's
go.
perfect.
I started on Google. Leslie's aliases include Luella Alexandria, Leslie Marie Sangston, Linda Sue Owens, and Lulu. So it is very possible that Krenwinkel is an alias, okay? But,
I hope that Krenwinkel is the real name.
but this is not her story, so I don't give 2 fucks.
No, fuck it isn't.
Annie took it. Annie took the story and ran away.
I don't know
I'm Googling
anything about
Krenwinkel now.
Krenwinkel. Okay, so August 9th, 1969, all of these people went on a 7-day. They went on a 2-day murder spree to kill 7 people. 2 of these people included Rosemary LeBlanca and Leno LeBlanc. Rosemary and Leno LeBlanc. La Bianca. We got there. They went on a 2-day murder spree to kill 7 people, and 2 of these people included Rosemary and Leno La Bianca. So basically they went and they found this couple and they stabbed Rosemary, and while they were there, Tex is his first name. Tex Watson gave Leslie a knife, and she stabbed the woman at least 14 more times. She testified in 1971, and I took one of the knives, and Patricia Krenwinkel, Annie, had a knife, and we started stabbing and cutting up the lady. So basically, unmotivated, they went and killed these 2 people because the cult leader said so. She never gave a reason for the crime, but the killings were part of a larger plan by Charles Manson to start a race war that he had named Helter Skelter after the Beatles song, kind of like this they wanted to start like another civil rights movement. So the judge did feel like this, in fact, was racially motivated because they weren't white. After that, it does get really interesting because she had quite a few issues with her trials. So she was originally, because like, I mean, realistically, like she was tried for a double murder alongside a bunch of other people in this cult. She wasn't in the cult for very long when this happened. I mean, he started the cult in 1968 and they killed these people in 1969. So that happened pretty quickly, even though apparently she was born in the 80s, according to Wikipedia. So who knows? They traveled back in time. But she was arrested and charged for the murders of Leno and Rosemary. She was convicted of that and sentenced to death in 1969. And then in 1972, the California Supreme Court ruling found that the death penalty was unconstitutional. So she could not be sentenced to death. So that resulted in her sentence being commuted to life in prison. Then her conviction was overturned in 1976 in an Applegate court decision, which granted her a retrial. Then she had a second trial, which ended in a deadlocked jury and a mistrial, which is going to happen when I get picked for jury duty, true, of course. And then in her third trial for this murder, in 1978, she was convicted of 2 counts of murder and 1 count of conspiracy and sentenced to 7 years, she was sentenced to 7 years to life in prison. So after spending 53 years in prison, that included 24 parole hearings and being denied parole 5 times, she was paroled 10 days ago, first time in over 50 years. So she just got released, which is why I thought we could talk about her today. So that's the brief overview of the hard life that was Leslie Van Houten.
Weird, it took you like 15 minutes.
So that's my story for today. No psychology. I'm just
stay mental.
So I wanted to use that story, a poorly researched story that I just gave you, to talk about the term Hybristophilia.
Come again?
Hybristophilia.
What's the first letter? P or H?
H-Y. Hi. Hybristophilia.
Spell it. Spell the whole thing.
Bristophilia. How do you pronounce that?
You said it right.
Yeah. Hybris. No, I don't think I'm hubris.
I think it's hybristophilia.
Of course, the love of. Yeah, no, you're saying you're right. I'm just trying to figure out what it is.
She's trying to analyze it through Latin because she's Annie.
Okay.
Etymology.
So hybristophilia, which is defined as the idea of being attracted to or even being erotically stimulated by dangerous individuals. So
interesting. That's not what I was going to say.
Some specialists believe this is a disturbed kind of attraction in much the same way that people can become fixated on fetishes, often termed perversions or paraphilias. So I wanted to spend some time talking about Leslie based on this idea. So there was a California psychologist, Charlene Gelt, who studied in depth 26 different women who have started relationships with prisoners who have life sentences or death row inmates. And she wrote a book that does sound really interesting that I want to check out at some point, called Hades Angels. And so she and a couple of other researchers we're going to talk about today have been spending some time kind of looking at this term and trying to figure out what it means. But to start with her, she talks about how the women who are attracted to these guys are often successful, educated, nurturing, and confident. And they're not really fitting the popular stereotype of being dysfunctional. They really feel like they're genuinely in love and emotionally intimate with their partners. And this is the first time that they felt such a deep level of attraction.
So they're not identified as dysfunctional from the outside or from them?
They're not identified as being dysfunctional from the outside. So like they're not what you would typically identify as being a dysfunctional person. They're usually achieving, successful. They have their life in what you would consider in order. Yeah.
Oh, I see the connection so far, Kinsey. Keep going.
So they really feel like they're deeply and genuinely in love and emotionally connected to the guys that they're with who are in prison. And through the podcast today, we're going to talk about women being attracted to dangerous men, just to keep that. It is very heteronormative, just so you guys know. So many of these women even explain that when they met this prisoner that they're in love with, they had a sense of connecting with their soulmates. So there's a couple of different reasons and ideas behind why this may be. One of the first reasonings is that the restriction in prison and this inability to have physical contact seems to unintentionally contribute towards an even more intense and previously unmet intimacy need. So Charlene Gelt, she proposes that some women are driven by strong unconscious forces to fix or save a criminal from their flaws, because this is one unconscious way of dealing with a childhood emotional wound within the woman themselves. The prison environment may in some ways replicate emotionally charged and dangerous atmospheres that the woman may have been accustomed to in her childhood or previous family relationships. And others have argued that becoming apparently indispensable to someone who is completely dependent on them kind of have this like similar emotional responses you would have with a baby. And it's very primitive in its drive, and it comes from a sense of childhood trauma. And then there's also, she says that at the end, there's also like this kind of idea that some women may have been groomed by the prisoners, which we talked about on my last story, right? Or seduced in a way that brings out their apparent vulnerabilities. Prisoners can be very manipulative and explaining that the case against them is flawed, and this can bring out maternal and rescue instincts in some women. So she spends a lot of time in her book talking about these ideas and like these different theories for why women are attracted to them. And then I actually found 2 other researchers who have been looking into this as well. So Michael Dahlin and Magnus Soderlund from the Stockholm School of Economics proposed that murderers can be idolized and found attractive because of their homicidal behavior. I'm about to tell you guys a fact, and I am willing to repeat it more than once because this is probably the most important thing I'm going to bring to you guys today, to the point where I highlight.
Are you in a secret relationship with a person in jail?
No, I have a boyfriend. Maybe next time.
You didn't specify who, but go ahead.
I actually highlighted this in a different color because I wanted to make sure I said this. Okay, so Dahlin and Soderlund found that 91% of men and 84% of women have had vivid fantasies about killing someone, and that human beings probably have an evolved adaptation for carnage because in our ancestral environment, the ability to commit murder could be considered one kind of genetic or evolutionary fitness in terms of survival. So 91% of men and 84% of women have had fantasies about killing someone.
I don't think... Okay, maybe the word fantasy here might change what I think. I actually normalize that kind of thought just like I would normalize suicide.
I think you can normalize any of these kind of thoughts, but I just found it to be a very interesting statistic that I have never thought about before, right? And so they're saying, like, we often think about these things, so that helps to normalize the behavior that maybe the guys in prison are having, right? Like, they're in prison for murder, but, like, I've considered murdering someone. So, like, of course, that's a normal instinct. Or he did it to protect somebody, or he was mistried, or whatever this is. Like, they're going through all these reasons to normalize what's going on here.
Yeah. I think about it in the context of, because like based off of that theory, they're saying that fantasy is kind of drawn out by them being with this individual, that fantastical like desire is then almost like part of why they're so attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it goes more back to like some of the earlier things you said about like maybe I think it really depends on which perspective you're taking, because if you're looking at it from like the
wait, I have one more perspective to show you before we get into the.
Oh, go ahead.
And then finally, Louis Skelsinger, PhD, who was a professor of forensic psychology at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, said there's also the feeling of being needed. So women who are with criminal men find much needed attention and get a sense of purpose that helps them, stay committed in these relationships. Women who pursued these relationships, and this is probably the more sexist of the approaches, but he felt that some of these women may also be interested in getting attention from other people, and they may want to be in the limelight and feel the sense of thrill. So those are the...
Yeah, well, fuck him.
Right. So no, those are all of them. So go ahead. I want to hear what you say, but I wanted to give you all the perspectives before you...
Well, the second to last one is kind of where I'm at, but I think your earlier one's like, it's a very evolutionary perspective, right? So you're looking at
that's what they're all saying,
like biological, like that biological need to nurture something. So like that's kind of like an evolutionary perspective. But if you look at it from like a social perspective, both the nurturing and the needing, because women are often socialized to nurture and to associate their worth with what we do for others. I think that's often kind of where I come from in these unhealthy relationships. Like you're earning your keep, you're earning the love.
Right. I think that falling in love with a prisoner is a safe way to, I guess, quote, a safe way to be with someone who you have fantasized about. Like, for example, the Night Stalker, like Richard Ramirez, for example, whenever he was going through his trial, there were several women writing to him, falling in love with him, waiting for him outside of the courtroom, trying to get a glimpse of him, trying to get him to look at them because they wanted to feel special. But like that whole time they were safe because he was in handcuffs. Like he had handcuffs around his wrists, around his ankles. He was tied around the waist. Like physically they were safe. And I feel like subconsciously they knew that. And so moving forward with someone like that in the real world, they would not feel as protected.
It's like watching a scary movie then is kind of that perspective, right? So you're watching a scary movie so that you can feel that fear because it's fun and it feels good to feel that fear. But the whole time that you're watching like the monster jump out, you know that you're safe, but you feel for a moment like you're scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that for people with trauma, for people that you said like they might feel comfortable with people who are more aggressive or violent or harmful because of some of their childhood traumas. And I think that for these specific people, they could be falling in love with someone to fulfill a need that wasn't met in childhood, but in a safer way than it would be outside of a prison.
Right. I thought this was really interesting. Originally, I was actually going to talk a little bit more about how I felt like the beginning of Leslie's drug use, like because she started using such hardcore drugs at such a young age, probably predisposed her to being in the cult. That's originally where I was going to go with this. And then I started doing more research on cults in general. And it was talking about, this idea that women in cults because they are attracted to dangerous men. Like there's this whole line of thinking. Because I think that's what's important here is like originally like this line of research wasn't just to say, oh, we're only attracted to people like Jeffrey Dahmer who have murdered and killed people, murdered and maimed people. Originally, it's to talk about just in general, like people are sexually aroused by people who are dangerous. And that's part of like this whole thing.
And even in the presence of a cult, you're still among other people. Mm-hmm. So there's still more of a feeling of safety and security when you're not the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's too, a lot of times you have the idea that maybe it's, and this might fall kind of under what the guy was saying about the attention. You consider them dangerous, but you feel special if they're not trying to kill you, so that you are like the chosen one. You're the desired one until they do actually kill you or beat you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's that, like I'm special, like they won't do it to me. And so it feels even better.
No. And I think the first lady, right. She does a good job talking about that because she's like, these women feel like this is their soulmate. Like they put this on such a high level. Like they're like, I'm supposed to be with this person, which I think is, a very interesting way to look at things. It's interesting to
you also go ahead.
it's interesting to believe that destiny is saying, because like that's like the soulmate thing is like destiny, right? Like destiny's saying I should be with this murderer.
Right. But you also have to take in the context of like these people are master manipulators, highest level narcissistic, sociopathic, like
pathological.
They're at the highest level of these diagnoses where they have carried out heinous crimes that have ended people's lives, and and they fell for them before they even committed any crimes. They were like, the long game for Manson was to have a cult following, and for these women, their long game was to fall in love with their soulmate.
Right. And I think, you know, I think it's interesting because a lot of this is based on women to men, right? So I would be interested to see how this transitions. Obviously, there aren't as many serial killers that are female, but there are women who commit murders. And I'm interested to see how the research would shift to that, because I do think, like, in general, first and foremost, you know, going back to some of the stuff we talked about really at the beginning of when we made this podcast, is like rules and regulations around research. Like, it's very difficult to research prisoners in general. Like, you have to go through a lot of hoops to get any access to prison data or to be allowed in a prison system to do research like this. So, like, just to be able to get information on this is hard. And also, like, if these men are currently in trial and stuff, I'm sure there's more rules around that. But I would be really interested to see how this could change based on, like, women who are the murderers, who are in love with men, or even same-sex relationships, because I am curious evolutionarily if this is more of a woman brain issue, if this is more developmental for women, or if this is just, you know.
I do look at it from the concept of power, like that. If we look at it from an evolutionary perspective, we're going to say that, you know, if they were powerful and strong before, that they would have been more likely to protect you. So that gene is going to live on, and the genes that would have reproduced would be the genes of the women who seek the man with the power, and the power of the man is going to be reproduced too. And so that now we're looking at women having been passed the gene of automatically kind of being drawn to power because it means safety for them. And so I think if you're looking at somebody who kills people, I mean, I wouldn't associate that with power, but I can definitely see how some women would, and how that can translate into they're powerful, they're strong. They're also a lot of times very confident, and confidence is something that can be attractive and stabilizing for some people.
There is a whole genre of fantasy books, like romantic fantasy books, based on this idea of, and I looked up the term, and it's not just murderers. It just says criminal offender. So like,
I'm pretty sure mine just says dangerous individuals. So
right. So there's like a whole genre of people who read about mobsters who do these horrible crimes that are sexually arousing for these women. Will they actually be interested in someone like that? No. If they were in a situation where that man in real life was presented to them, would they take it on? No. However, the thought and the arousal of it is more attractive than the actual danger.
I think.
Well, and that goes to what we're actually. Go ahead.
I think you give women a lot of. Kayla gives women a lot of grace with this. Like, I don't think they would actually take this man up on his offer. I think there are plenty of women that really do think they're, like Annie said, the chosen one. And so they would convince themselves, like, he would never hurt me. He only hurts people that deserve it.
But if you think of it in the context of, and sorry, this is my skeptical view of love, my non-romantic view of love. You're in love with the version that you tell yourself they are. You're in love with a narrative. You're not in love with the actual person. Now, hopefully your narrative actually aligns with that person. But I think that's oftentimes what happens, is that the narrative is they're not dangerous to me. And so I think it really depends. Like, I think there are a lot of women who do read the books, and it's just purely, they're attracted to that in book form, not in real life. There are plenty of women who are also going to be attracted to the actual murderer. But I mean, dangerous person is by itself general, because we're talking about a whole host of, in what way are they dangerous? You think about Sons of Anarchy. I mean, you have a whole cult following of women who are just absolutely in love with whatever that blind guy is. Not blind guy.
No
with
idea.
a coat.
Never seen it.
I actually did watch it. He's a little attractive, but
well, no, I really like. That's part of what I wanted to talk about today too, because like I wanted to make sure to mention I like that she calls the book Hades Angel, because I know like my friends in grad school here have always joked like I'm attracted to the villains in the TV shows, right? Like Hades or Scar or like, and I think we even joked about it on here, like attracted to like the bad guy on the Disney movie.
Anti-hero.
Right. And it's like, yeah, like they have a certain like thing about them, right?
Shout out Resand.
Yeah. So
Woof. Here we go. Is this our time? Sorry, Kinsey, we're about to take over. You don't even know what you did. Well,
shout out to Resand.
It's okay. We will show some impulse control.
So yeah, I think like this goes on all the things, right? There's like lots of women who are attracted to the bad guy on TV shows and stuff too. It doesn't just have to be someone that's out murdering people, like Kayla said.
But there's a difference to reactionary bad and bad. And this is going to be a very black and white perspective of this, but there's the bad where you're harming innocent people because you're harming innocent people to get what you want. And then there's the bad that we often do like in these books where you do bad to protect the innocent people. That's the anti-hero. I don't know, Kayla, you read a lot. Yeah, okay. I'll make sure that was correct. That's my perception of it. Yeah, so you're bad because you're harming people, but to protect innocent. The bad that we're talking about is more so the bad that harms innocence, end of story.
Yep.
And that's the ones we're saying it's more about an unhealthy view of the relationship, or just something that you're seeking that's not necessarily the healthiest way to get it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think big story, big picture. Leslie Van Houten was recently released from prison after 53 years, 3 trials, all that shit. What? You don't like?
Is there a U in it, or is it OO?
Van Houten. The HOU.
I was just curious. I just wanted to see. I like how you say it. I know some Van Houtens, and so every time you say it, I'm like, is it OO? Is it OU?
I don't know.
It's fine.
So Leslie was
it's WHOO.
I feel like you do know because you're looking at it, but it's fine.
Leslie was recently released after 3 trials, 5 parole denials, all this stuff. 53 years in prison. She was recently released. She was in a cult at 19 years old and committed 2 murders. And that theoretically it could be based on the idea of Hybristophilia, because she was attracted to a dangerous individual. Is kind of what the research.
One other perspective here. You know, they're doing a lot more research on how LSD can be used in mental health disorders.
Which is exactly why I almost researched that.
I know, and I kind of figured that. But so from my understanding, and this is kind of just base research from clients who have asked, my understanding is that the LSD is meant to be taken to create new neuronal pathways. And I love the video that I saw one time where it was like, if you ski a lot in one path, that's the path. You're going to make a really strong divot. And if you keep going down that path, that's the only path that you can really take because it's so well made. And that's kind of what trauma has done for you. What the LSD is meant to do is to create a new path. So you have a new line of thinking, new reactions. And essentially it's almost like recreating associations so that you're no longer triggered by these things. So you're
talking about microdosing?
Microdosing, yes. So you're creating new neuronal networks. And so that's what LSD does. So if you pair that with this, I mean, and this is just like very base knowledge of it, but I think about it in the context of that. If you're around that enough, you're creating these new neural networks unknowingly, while also being operantly conditioned by all these people around you to do these things. And that's where it just gets a lot more great. And that's why I fucking love psychology, because so many people cannot step back enough to go, okay, well, it wasn't that just she was good or bad. You have all these different perspectives that you can take. Where is it? Is she in love with the dangerous man? Is it because of the LSD? Was she just rewarded enough and seeking approval from others? I fucking love it. It's awesome.
Right.
No.
It's the context of everything.
I literally,
Oh my God, it's a perspective.
I was so close to researching the LSD because like the LSD research is coming out so strong right now that LSD can be helpful for PTSD and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I just found like not only the fact that she was using LSD from a young age, which would definitely impact brain development, but the fact that they were using LSD.
And I don't even know how that impacts it. Like
No.
I have no research on that. I would just assume that it does.
Right. I mean, I would assume using any drug impacts brain development.
Right. That's it.
And
That's
so
the only knowledge that I would have of it.
But then on top of that, Manson using LSD as a control mechanism in his cult fascinated me. But then I started Googling the psychology.
Because it becomes this thing where if you do what I want you to do, then I'm going to reward you with this thing that is now an addiction for you.
Right. But then here we are, and I started Googling the psychology of cults, and you know,
I say we just do it again next week, part 2. Kinsey talks LSD.
you know, I love to learn. I love to learn a new word, and I was like, "That's a cool word I've never heard before." So here we are.
You also hate to Google names.
I can't pronounce words.
It's Van Houten. I Googled it.
I love how many times you said Van Houten, because Van Houten sounds a lot better than Van Houten.
Leslie.
Good job, kids.
So yeah, fun new word today. If you're attracted to bad guys, this is why. It's okay.
It's not exactly why, but
I could talk about this for hours. I wish that this was like 3 hours long. This is very fascinating to me. I love going into perspectives of why people act the way they do, especially if you start comparing the different. It's like a freaking orgasm the whole time for me. It's a brain orgasm.
I want to watch an interview of her, actually.
I
want to read that freaking book.
I want to read the book too, but yeah, she came on my feed because she just got released, so I thought she would be nice to talk about because she's relevant.
We should invite her.
Okay, I'm sure she's got nothing going on. She's been in prison for 52 years.
She won't know how to use this website. I'm sorry.
No.
We didn't know how to use this website.
And that says a lot about how much she will not know how to read.
Kinsey still doesn't even know how to log in with the mentally morbid password. It's 43 episodes.
Listen, sometimes there's an exclamation point, sometimes they're not. And also we had to spell wrong, and that just tricks me up every time.
How about you tell everyone your password? I'm gonna blur that out. Jesus.
I wish you would have kept going. We're going to change 82 accounts.
While you're at it, you want to give them your social? Jesus.
Listen, if they can hack the password off of that information, exclamation point, and then go for it.
Remember when all she had to say was La Bianca?
Damn.
I hope you don't edit that out. Kinsey, I'm very proud of you. This has been my favorite episode of yours so far.
Oh, is it because I
say
said
that every time she goes?
Is it because I said everyone's name wrong, or because you got to talk about psychology more?
Both and. Why? Porque no las dos.
Porque no las dos.
And
why
Resand
choose
came
when
up,
you can have them all?
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I really like the new word I know. So,
can you say the word? Can you say the new word?
Hybristophilia.
I actually Googled it because I was curious. It's Greek. It comes from a Greek word.
Yes, it does.
I had to Google that because I was
it.
like, I don't. Yeah, because I was like, hybrid. Like, what is that? I was thinking hubris. I'm like, it's not hubris. So I was trying to figure it out, and then
it's a different word.
It comes from hybrid. It comes from the word hybrid, but actually Greek, and I did not know that.
Isn't philia Greek?
I think that I don't know.
I thought it was.
I was thinking that was Latin.
It might be. I don't.
Well,
so yeah, Hades Angels. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it's Greek.
I do not know where Hades Angels is available. 1 second, because it's not on Amazon.
What?
If it's not on Amazon, I don't want it.
There's a hella drawings for it, though, if you Google that.
Oh, wait. It is on Amazon, but it didn't show up on Amazon when I typed Does that ever happen to you guys? You type the exact title in?
Was it 1982 or 1964? I don't know.
Oh my god.
I had a question mark. I'm not sure which one it was. Did I Google it? No.
I didn't even realize how wrong those dates were.
Yeah, I know.
They're very wrong.
Yeah.
20 years almost.
It's fine.
I'm just glad we got to travel back in time with you.
She killed someone when she did not exist, so it's fine.
Hey, so we're getting closer to our episode 50, which we're going to have come out Halloween. So we're getting closer to that.
On our
about
1-year
7 to 8 weeks.
anniversary.
Yeah, we're so successful. You guys just can't get rid of us no matter how hard you try. We're just going to keep paying to keep doing this. So while you're at it, because we're going to be here, you should like us, share us, follow us. You know all the drills. It's just we don't have to listen every time, right? It's all social media, all the popular ones. We're not on Twitter. Twitter's stupid.
Just all the social medias that you can think of, we're on them. And Kinsey has a Venmo for us. And
Kinsey also on social media, so we apologize for that.
I do run the social media. Sometimes I make posts on accident without even realizing it. So just keep an eye out.
Next week is my story, and I do have a little homework for you guys.
For me or for the listeners?
For everybody.
No.
Watch Betrayal on Hulu.
Can you remind us next week?
Yeah, I'll remind you. But watch Betrayal on Hulu because I'm going to talk about it next week.
Remind me Saturday at about 8.
Is it a TV show or a movie?
It's a TV show, and it's limited docuseries.
Oh.
It's only got...
Wait.
I just watched it from work until now.
Like there's 18 different love triangles?
Yes.
That's on my list. It's on my list.
You gotta watch it before I go on Tuesday.
I'll start it right now.
Kinsey has nothing better to do. She's in a relationship. All she does is watch TV with Gus now.
I know.
And play farm games.
Boring.
Well,
anyway.
Kinsey, thank you. Bye, Kayla. Until next week, we hope you stay mental.
Stay morbid.
See you Tuesday.